Hey guys, it's time for a new build. I wanted to come up with a new build to do the Blight project that I'm going to do, where I'm going to farm 100 blighted maps. So I decided to create this Impale Phys Flicker Raider. It's quite an expensive build, just to get that out there, but it's very fun, high DPS, very fast clear, good single target as well, so it can do bosses. It can do pretty much everything except the Maven and Uber at Zeri because of Reflect. If you get reduce reflect, then you could probably do Uber at Zeri as well. But yeah, the Maven is a no-go, and I'll explain why in the video. But yeah, for now, let's jump right into the gear, the skills, and get to it. I'll see you in a sec. Hey guys, so before I get started, I just quickly want to say that this is not a low budget build, it is not League Starter friendly, and it is definitely not hardcore viable because we're using Flicker Strike. So let's jump right in. I'll start by explaining the skill, which is Flicker Strike. So basically that teleports the character to a nearby monster and attacks with a melee weapon. If there's no monster targeted, one is picked at random, grants a buff that increases move speed for a duration, and the cooldown can be passed by expending a frenzy charge. So that is exactly why I'm using a Raider, because we generate mass frenzy charges, which basically means we have infinite flicker strikes, which is very cool. So starting with the gear, my main weapon is a Paradox Cavale Rapier. This will be probably the most expensive part of your gear if you're not using a Headhunter. So the modifiers you want are increased Phys damage and attack speed with quality. The other modifier, chance to cause bleeding on hit, does not matter. If you can pick up one with Impale chance, that is way better. That's probably the best in slot you can get. I got this one for kind of cheaps, and my Impale is 100%, so I'm fine with this. This is 241 DPS, PDPS, so you definitely want to pick up something around that for, you know, maximum damage. In the offhand, we are using the Saviour Legion Sword. The Saviour is such a cool item. It basically summons 2 copies of yourself when you crit, and the copies deal 50% of your damage, meaning that when both of them are out, your damage is basically doubled. This helps with clearing mobs. They run off and kill mobs by themselves using Flicker Strike, and they also really help on bosses. If you crit the boss and summon them, you can run around while your 2 guys basically kick the shit out of the boss for you. So that's very cool. I wouldn't really replace this. I really love this item. It's very cheap right now, 2.3x. These used to be 20x when they first came out, so I don't know why they're so cheap, honestly. They're so good. Yeah, but moving on. The boots are the cheapest part, 1C boots. Dark Ray Vectors, these are the best in slot for +1 charge. They also give you +5 movement speed per frenzy charge, so I have 9, so I currently have 45% increased move speed, which is great. Reduced frenzy charge duration, which doesn't matter, and chance to dodge attack hits per frenzy charge, and a bit of lightning res. So I have 18% chance to dodge attack hits thanks to these boots. So yeah, awesome boots. Best in slot for the helmet, Abyssus. You can't really replace this unless you want to lose a shit ton of DPS. Abyssus gives around 1.1 million DPS. It is so strong. It gives 122% to your melee crit multiplier, 40 to 60 Phys damage to attacks, a bit of attributes to help with int, with the drawback of giving you 40% increased Phys damage taken. We are max dodge, so chances are if we was to get hit anyway, we would probably die. So it doesn't really matter with the drawback, so it's a really nice helmet. You want to pick it up ideally with the 9% increased flicker strike damage per frenzy charge. If you don't have a lot of frenzy charges, then just go for 40%. But if you don't have a lot of frenzy charges, you're probably doing something wrong. So yeah, best in slot helmet. Can't say much more. Barrel's Fur is a must-have. Max life. Aspect of the cat has no mana res. 2 seconds to the cat stealth duration, and you gain up to your maximum number of frenzy and power charges when you gain cat stealth, which is huge. It basically gives us permanent frenzy charges. We will never run out with this item. So cat stealth. There it is. You know, it offers 2 buffs: the agi and the stealth. One gives 10% increased cast speed and attack speed, and one gives crit strike chance and avoid all damage. 15% chance to avoid all damage from hits, and stealth. These 2 buffs alternate between the 2, offering different effects per one. With the Feral's Fur, obviously, cat stealth lasts longer. Replica Feral Flare, the other one lasts longer and grants endurance charges. We're using the normal one. This will cost about 10 exalts if you buy it fully linked. At the time of me making this video. So, for the gloves, the best in slot that you can get is gloves with +1 max frenzy charges and strike skills, target 1 additional nearby enemy. These are Hunter and Warlord gloves. You make them using an Awakener's Orb. And if you roll something shite, like these aren't the best, but at the moment I need the lightning resist, so I'm not going to craft over them. I also have an open suffix I could craft on there, but I'm not doing it yet because I want to craft Aspect of the Cat on this, and I'll explain why in a second. But yeah, if you roll shite suffixes, you can just go to Harvest and reroll keeping prefixes until you get, something you desire. If you were to hit triple res or double res Culling Strike, they would be absolutely insane, so keep that in mind when you make some gloves. For the rings, I'm using a Sapphire ring with Aspect of the Cat, added Flat Fizz tier 1, a little bit of Crafted Life, and Vulnerability on hit. This isn't the best ring you can get. A Steel ring with Shaper that gives you Assassin's Mark would be better. I'm using Vulnerability right now because I just couldn't find a ring, to be honest. There was no rings that suited my build at the time, so I bought this one as sort of a filler. I will replace it later on. But yeah, these rings can be quite expensive. This one wasn't too much. I think it was like 8x. So yeah. Other ring, you just want fat resist because you really struggle with resist on this. This one is pretty nice. It's got high cold, high fire, tier 1 life, tier 1 all attributes, and tier 1 fizz. With non-challenge skills up and 1 is 5 to total mana cost. And let me just move this picture real quick. This webcam. So yeah, Flicker Strike costing 44 mana. So these won't make a huge difference, but as you can see, my mana pool is currently 110. So yeah, I can do 2, and then I'd run out of mana. So I have mana leech on the tree, which I'll show you later. So carrying on. Amulet you can make yourself. You don't really need an influence one. You just need one with crit multi, flat fizz, a crit chance. A bit of res and life is always nice if you can find it. You can make these by buying a fractured one like I did. Usually, I don't know what it is, okay, but here's a little tip for you. Basically, people always sell fractured things super cheap, and I have no idea why. But if you pick one up, it makes it super easy to craft. I got this one for quite cheap as well. And you can either roll with Physical and Harvest, which is what I've used on this one. Or you can roll with Contempt Essences, which are a lot more expensive, but obviously give you higher fizz. Contempts give you Contempts cost 12c per one, so just make sure you've got quite a high budget if you're going to try and make an amulet doing that. And for my allocation, I've allocated Tenacity. 1 second, guys, sorry. So I've allocated Tenacity, which gives increases and reductions to max life, also apply attack damage at 30% of their value. So yeah, you can allocate other things, but that's my preferred one. Yeah, I think I've covered. Oh no, the bout. Yeah, the bout. Yes. So for the bout, the best in slot you can have is a headhunter. I'm not using a headhunter because they are very expensive. I could have bought one, but then I would just probably have a headhunter and some shitty gear. So fuck that. This bout is good enough. It gives a lot of life. If I take it off, 4.3k. So yeah, 600 life is quite decent. That's also including my Murderous Sigil, which gives flat fizz, accuracy, and max life. That's what you want on that. And yeah, so if you're not using a headhunter, just get a fat life resist bout if you can. That's pretty much it. So for gear, I think I've... Oh, no, flash. Yep. God damn, guys. I suck at these videos. I'm sorry. So Bottled Faith is a pretty much must-have if you can get it. It gives a lot of crit chance. We are a crit build, so this is perfect. Also, because we're a crit build, we're going to be using a diamond flask. And then pretty much, the stable quicksilver flask, a life flask. I have this mana flask. You don't need a mana flask if you can sustain your mana. You can take a quartz flask, which gives you 10% chance to dodge attack and spell hits, which would push you up to max attack and 55 spell. So I'll just quickly look at my stats while I'm here since I'm done with the gear anyway. So, where's Flicker on here? There it is. So yeah, as you can see, I'm not even capped on lightning res, but that's fine by me because I'm dodging everything like a true boss. 75% chance to dodge attacks, 45% for spells. Shitty chaos res, a little bit of chance to block attack damage because I'm dual wielding, a little bit of avoidance, but the main thing is the move speed. Radar is very quick. So without a flask, I have 133 move speed, 175 with a flask, so I can absolutely blast through maps very quickly, which is always cool. And then yeah, I have 102% chance to impale. That's pretty good. And without my... yeah, so 40% chance to crit with 539 multi, which is quite high, and 100% accuracy. So yeah, going on to the skill tree. Now, the skill tree, you know, there's not really much for me to talk about here. I'll talk about the Ascendancy. I will just link the path of building in the description for you to, you know, do it yourself. You know, you might be able to edit it and do some things that improve it more than I have. If you do, let me know, because, you know, always want to improve my build. And to be honest, this is the first or second raider I've played. Yep, in about over 3 years of Path of Exile. So yeah, there's just so much to do in Path of Exile. Okay, so for the Ascendancy, Rapid Assault, which gives you Onslaught with 50% increased Onslaught effect, which will give you basically 30% increased attack, cast, and move speed. So that's very nice. I went for Quartz Infusion, which gives you phasing, chance to dodge attack and spell hits. So you don't have to get this if you don't really want it, I guess. You can go for the Avatar of the Trace if you want to be hella fast. It still gives you a chance to evade, but I personally like having phasing all the time as well. So yeah, this would give you an additional 20% increased attack, cast, and move speed, as well as the evade during Onslaught, which you always have. So that's really personal preference. But these two are must-have. And one is Way of the Poacher, which is 20% chance to gain a Frenzy Charge on kill, 10% chance to gain a Frenzy Charge when you hit a rare or unique, and +1 Frenzy Charge. You will never run out of Frenzy Charges with a raider with this. This is perfect. And then this basically gives your character steroids. So you get, at the moment I have 9 Frenzy Charges with pretty decent gear. So 10% increased attack damage per Frenzy, 4% attack speed, and 4% move speed, 10% evasion. So yeah, that is loads, absolutely loads. That's why Raider is so good for this build. So for the tree itself, you know, it's pretty standard stuff. You take Life, you take Wind Dancer, you take Sword Nodes because we're using swords. You take Multi. Now, over here I have an Intuitive Leap with Overwhelm. If you can get one with Corrupted Blood, you know, go for that because it'll probably make your other jewels a bit better. But they're about 8x, so I just went with this Overwhelm that I got for 1x. It saves you quite a lot of points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points saved. You take Fervor, you take Equity and Heartseeker because those are awesome. So this is a really value Intuitive Leap in my opinion. And yeah, you just want to go up, get Frenzy Charges, take Blood Drinker for a bit of life and leech. You definitely want Phase Acrobats because we are dodge. If you don't have those, you're definitely not playing the build correctly. More Sword Nodes, Honed Edge, Twin Terrors. Take the life nodes here for Wind Dancer, as I've said. I'm currently level 92, by the way, and I'm going for Blade Dancer now. According to POB, this will increase my DPS by about 305,000, so I'm going to take that next. Yeah, more Frenzy, Golem's Blood's good, Jewel Sockets. Disciple of the Slaughter gives you quite a lot of damage because it's damage per Frenzy Charge, so that's worth picking up in my opinion. Blade of Cunning and Dismembering are also very good. Now, you want to head up to the Duelist side for all the Impale nodes, since I'm using Impale. So I've headed up to Constitution, because this wheel is awesome anyway for life. So I've taken Forceful Skewering, which gives me an additional 15% here, and then this one gives me 5, so this is 20% of my Impale. And I've also taken Call to Arms, because I'm currently using Enduring Cry, because this skill is fucking awesome. Honestly, this skill is like so good, man. If you can get this on any build, I would use it. And it also, you know, lets me get this Bloodless, which is quite nice as well. So as for my jewels, aside from the Intuitive Leap, which I've already covered, I have a large cluster jewel, and if you get a Paradoxica with Impale, you don't need this. Well, you don't need these specific nodes, I should say. So this one is pretty shite, I'm not going to lie. It cost me about 40c, and I got it basically just for the Impale. It was the best thing I could find. So I've got Run Through, which gives me Impale chance with swords, increased Fizz, which isn't too bad, and Impale effect, so this is actually quite a decent node. Drive to Destruction for damage leeches live, and then set damage when I'm full life, which will probably always be on full life, because if we've been hit, we're probably dead. Martial Prowess is just, you know, good, everyone knows it. And as for the jewels, no medium clusters. I probably could fit them in, but I'm too lazy to do it. So I've gone just for a crit multi max life mana leech jewel over here with a bit of dex for accuracy. And a Watcher's Eye, a decent Watcher's Eye you can get is Impales. You inflict last 2 additional hits while using Pride. Pretty standard stuff when you're using Pride. If you can get a double one with attack damage, that would be absolutely perfect. But yeah, that about covers that over there. Heading over here, I have another duel with multi, life, and accuracy. And now, ideally, your best duel would be max life, global crit multi, and melee crit multi, and accuracy, I guess, or resistances. But those are quite expensive if you want to get them. They will probably cost you between 6 to 10 exalts each. And then up here, I've just picked up my Corrupted Blood Jewel, which you're definitely going to want. With double crit multi, melee, and global. This was the best one I could find for under 2 exalts, so I picked that one up right quick. And yeah, that's about it for the tree. As I said, the path of building is going to be in the description anyway if you want to try the build out. And obviously you can modify it any way you see fit. Now, moving on, gem links. Yeah, there's not really much to talk about here. So for the Flicker Strike, I'm using Divergent Flicker Strike. Divergent gives you increased teleport range. This is preference. You don't have to use this if you don't want. You can just use the standard Flicker Strike. That's absolutely fine. Anomalous Impale. Yeah, because we're a raider, we want more Impale chance. So Anomalous gives you 10% chance, which is very nice. Divergent Fortify. Divergent gives you 5% overwhelm phys damage reduction. And then we have Awaken Multi-Strike. Now, Awaken Multi-Strike is really fucking good. So if you can get this, get it. But, you know, if you're restricted to your budget, don't worry about it. Just use a 2120 or a 2123, depending on what you can afford. Close combat support, really cheap jewel to get, really cheap gem to get at 2123 because no one really uses it besides Flicker Strike, I believe. I don't really see this much. So I got this for like 60C, I think. So yeah, quite cheap, quite nice. And Awaken Brutality. Now, you use Awaken Brutality only for bosses, unless your clear is decent enough. You can rely on the reflection to clear, but I'm using Melee Splash because I'm running a lot of Blight content. So Melee Splash is what you will use most of the time, and swap this in for bosses. In the boots, I have Summon Ice Golem with Precision. Ice Golem gives crit chance and accuracy, which is cool, but you will die quite a bit, you know. Cast when damage taken with a Mortal Call, level 1, level 3, standard stuff there. Dread Banner, Pride, Flesh and Stone, and Enlighten for my auras, which again, you know, if you're playing an Impale build, it's pretty standard stuff. I need to get 21 here, I've only got a 20, but that is fine too. You need the Enlighten, okay? Enlighten, because of the Flesh and Stone nerf, you know, granting, reserving 35% now, you definitely need Enlighten it. If I just quickly move this over here and show you the cost, which is 47 right now. My mana is 110, so yeah, I have like 2. But of course, you know, I have Leech, so it's probably fine, but you definitely need the Enlighten. Okay, so moving on from that, I've just got my movement skill in here. Second Wind, Dash, and Enduring Cry with Second Wind for cooldown, which is nice. Standard again. And then in the helmet, Ancestral War Chief with Culling for bosses, since I don't have it on my gloves. Melee Phys damage and Brutality. Now, you're not really going to use him that much in mapping because it's kind of a hassle to, you know, summon him. It stops you flickering and such, so you're pretty much going to use these with bosses. The Ancestral War Chief grants you more melee damage while it's active, and the Val grants you even more melee damage. So these are very powerful for bosses. You can also use the normal one and the Val one at the same time, I believe. So yeah, a big chunk of damage for bosses there. Make sure you always put them out. And lastly, I believe this is lastly, the weapon, which, you know, you're going to have some free slots. So I've got Portal, Cast on Death, and just a random Enlighten that I'm leveling up. You will die with this build, there's no doubt about it. There's just some things you can't prevent. Also, when you're doing bosses with this build, you have to be very careful because Flicker Strike is so random. For instance, if I was doing the Shaper and he does his, you know, Shaper Beam, then when I flicker, usually it's free real estate. You know, you can punch him in the back and beat his ass. But with Flicker Strike, you will most likely jump to the front of him and then tank his beam and get wrecked. So you have to be very careful. That is why I like the Saviour as well. If you just hit him and crit him, the boys will come out and beat his ass for you. So yeah, absolutely fine. Also, I mentioned you can't do the Maven. Same thing, Flicker Strike. So you can kill the Maven. However, once you get to like the nucleus phase, the two beams that spin round will hit you if you flicker and touch them, and then you're pretty much fucked. Like that 10% that 10-second no regen bullshit. It just fully stops this build from doing anything in the Maven. So yeah, you can't really do it with this. Aside from that though, pretty much all content viable. Uber and Zeri, you know, you're gonna reflect. You're gonna definitely hit the mirror because you're using Flicker Strike. So if you don't have a way to stop reflected Phys, you're fucked there as well. Yeah. Aside from that, build can do everything else pretty good. Definitely worth trying. Definitely very fast if you just want a character to blast through maps and clear. I have 175 move speed without a headhunter. So if I had a headhunter and I was doing delirium maps, which this build can do with this gear, by the way. I would absolutely destroy content, basically. So yeah, that's oh yeah, actually before I wrap it up. Pantheons. Yes. So Pantheons, you want Soul of Lunaris or Soul of Oracali. I'm using Soul of Aberath because I don't like burning ground, but you could also use Soul of Shikari for reduced chaos damage taken and chaos damage taken over time. Really, it's just your preference. Go with whatever you like. Those are the two that I use, personally find the best. And the bandits, you want to kill. No, you want to help Alira, sorry. I don't know why. I just usually kill all, so yeah. Help Alira. She gives crit multi, she gives mana regen, and she gives Ellie resist, which is definitely needed for this build, as you can tell from my resistances. Yeah, but I think that's about as far as it goes for the build. If I've missed anything, guys, feel free to comment, because I'm still new to making these videos. But you know, I'm trying to get better. So yeah, feel free to leave any constructive criticism you have, and I will take it on board. Thank you very much. And by the way, cheers guys for subscribing. My subscribers have jumped up to like 47 now. So big thank you guys, really, honestly, I appreciate it. So I will catch you next time with maybe a build update. I'm currently doing a you know, a blight project, which I'm currently farming in Lyra Arfane. I'm farming up blight maps to, you know, farm 100 of them and see what the loots are. I'm going to use teal oil, but I have been getting ones with, like, for instance, these ones have triple golden oil just dropped on them, so I really don't want to waste these, so I'm probably going to maybe do these as well, maybe do, like, I don't know, 105. So yeah, that's quite exciting, and I'll probably be releasing a video showing you how you can make easy money with Harvest still, so look out for that. If you want to see more, you know, subscribe. If not, you know, it's all good. Anyway, I will catch you next time. I will stop rambling, and yeah, take care, guys. Goodbye.